Mandukya Upanishad, we need to know its genesis, where from it has come, how it grew, how it became popular, what is its importance, etc. Mandukya Upanishad, it comes in Atharva Ved, Brahmana portion. Now, naturally, the question may arise in your mind, how do we know that this is Upanishad? Shankaracharya says that the sections that deal exclusively with matters concerning Atman, the soul, are Upanishads. But that is the definition given by Acharya Shankar much later. Traditionally, much before Shankaracharya came, these divisions were made, and the learned ones, the wise ones, they defined which one is an Upanishad maybe 3,000, 4,000 years ago. Traditionally, it has been going on. What Shankaracharya did was he just put the stamp of approval through arguments. In this Mandukya Upanishad, which comes in Atharva Ved, Brahman portion, there are only 12 mantras, just 12. And it is the shortest Upanishad. Imagine Mandukya Upanishad was composed minimum 3,000, 3,500 years ago. And it belongs to the Brahman portion of Atharva Ved. So maybe it's 5,000 years ago. The verses of the Upanishads and the Vedas are not known as shlok, but as mantras. There is a special respect connected with the Upanishads and the Vedas. So they are known as mantras. Every time I say mantra, don't think I'm mentioning something esoteric, something secret. We are mentioning something sacred. Whenever the word mantra is used in the context of Upanishads, only means that these are either from the Vedas or from the Upanishads. These 12 mantras essentially discuss the nature of reality as Om. Atman is Om, Brahman is Om. Essentially, this book is Mandukya Karika, although we say that Mandukya Upanishad with Karika. Because Mandukya Upanishad has only 12 mantras, and that is maybe not really voluminous, as you can understand. It's a very thin book. 12 mantras, 12 sentences, rather 13, 14 sentences, not more than that. The importance of this work is because of its Karika. Karika, as we had mentioned, is a commentary in verse form. It was given by Gaudapad, who was the teacher of Shankaracharya's teacher. When you write a book, 4 things must be discussed. The technical terms are first, adhikari. For whom is this book meant? Competence. You go to a bookstore, you pick up a book, and then sometimes you ask a bookseller, what is this book about? For whom it is this written? You might have seen that most books contain a writing on the back cover. It's known as blurb. It's a technical term in publishing world, blurb. There it is described what this book is about, and indirectly it says for whom this book is meant. So adhikar is the first thing that has to be discussed. And then Vishaya. What is the subject matter? And third is Prayojan. Why do I need to read this? And lastly, Sambandh. Relation. Relationship between this and that. This is known as Sambandh. Sambandh, these 4. Sadhan Chatushtay. That why we need this book. So there are 4 aspects to every book. But whenever a great commentator takes up a book to explain, he will always explain these 4 things. Competence, for whom the book is meant. What is the subject matter? What is the benefit? How do I get the benefit? And lastly, how is the subject matter related to this book? Because sometimes you say that this is the subject matter, and yet you will not be talking about that. You will be talking about something else. You say that this is a work on Vedanta, and then you go on talking about some Vedantic stories. So the book is on Vedanta, but you are discussing these stories like that. So Acharya Chandra says that, well, this Prakaran Grantha, because this is actually a Karika, this also needs to have these four, and these four must be discussed. Now, for whom is this book meant? It says the same as Vedanta. Whosoever studies Vedanta can study this work. If you look at this book, it has four sections. First one is known as Agam. Agam Prakaran. The name is Prakaran, treatise. And it has just 29 verses. And there it tries to demolish the popular concepts concerning God, universe, creation, etc. And the general quotations it uses is from the scriptures. Agam. Agam actually means scriptures. And then comes Vaitatya. Vaitatya. Vaitatya has 38 verses. And there it describes this Karika, the illusory nature of sense experience. Because whatever we are seeing in this universe comes to us from our senses. And he shows how all this are actually illusory. And then comes Advait Prakaran, which has 48 verses. Gaudapada very clearly says, what is Advaita? It's a very important section. If you want to understand Vedanta, if you want to understand Advaita, very important section. And then comes Alat Shanti. Alat Shanti is, supposing you take a fire stick and you revolve it pretty fast. So the whole thing will appear to you like a ring of fire. And when you want to stop it, you need to make this ring of fire disappear. And for that, you need to stop moving that stick. That stick is known as alat, that creates that ring of fire. The most profound work on Advaita Vedanta. There is no other work which is as profound as Mandukya Upanishad with Karika.